Okay, so we're in chapter 3 and we're in the second make something happen, which is called get the time for the display or for display. And that's it. We're making a clock. With a clock you need to know what the time is, and we're going to look at how JavaScript exposes the time to a program. And we learn a little bit about how this works and what have you. You can sing along with me. Please don't. But because you can look in the file clock display, which is one of the examples in the CSS example file. So I go in here and I open up the index and I get myself a clock and I'll drag it over here so you can see it, because it's nice if you can see it. There you are. And at the moment it's showing nothing. 0 minutes past, 0 seconds past, 0 hours past, whatever, which is not quite useful. We have to find a way of fetching the time from the JavaScript system and then displaying it on our screen. Now, we know how to use fonts and character sizes to make a nice big bunch of numbers, so that's that problem solved. Now we need to put some values into those numbers, and that's what we're doing now. So I'm going to press F12, because I always press F12 around this point in our conversations, don't I? F12, boop, and up it comes, and I'm going to get the console up so that I can talk to JavaScript. Hello, and I can start asking JavaScript commands. Now, JavaScript has a whole bunch of things built into it which are there to help us do stuff, and one of those is an object called date. Now, date is an object. In fact, pretty much everything we've talked to in our program so far has actually been an object. That's kind of a spoiler alert. We have whole chapters on objects coming up towards the end of this book, but everything is an object, and objects can do things for you. And I can make myself a new object and I can ask it questions. Let's do that. Var is how we make variables. I'm going to call my object current date, because I've always liked sultanas. Current date, sultana. Fine. Okay, and I'm going to go make me a new date object, and JavaScript will go off and it'll make me a new date and make the variable current date refer to it. Now, we know a bit about references. That was, remember that horrible Rob's car lot and the idea of getting references to paragraphs and things? Well, you get a reference to a paragraph so you can fiddle with it. And we use that to ask the current document, hey, can you get me a reference to this thing, please, with the name blah, blah, blah. Fine. We know about that. This is giving us a reference to a brand new date instance. And the thing about date instances is that when you make them, they are set with the current date and time. So this object sitting in memory somewhere, we don't know where it is, but we do know how to find it, because I can actually ask the current date object, the current date reference, to go to the object and find it. So I can go alert, because everyone needs alert, and then I can ask current date. It's trying to help me type. I can say, okay, give me get hours, and I can hit that, which is the function to get the hour value. Hit that, and boom, the page says 11. That is right. It is 11:48 in the morning at the moment. If I hit OK, I mean, I could just have done this. I could have gone, I could have typed when the keyboard's actually active. I can go current date dot get hours. I guess let's get the minutes actually this time. Get minutes. Go, and the tool knows all about the things that a date thing can do, so it makes suggestions. Get minutes. It was 11:47 when I asked for the date. It's moved on a bit since then. It's now 11:48 and change, because time moves on inexorably towards the future. That's the way it goes. And so you can ask the date to give me the date and time, and that's pretty much it. I mean, I can actually make a variable called hours, which is equal to current date dot get hours. I like things like get hours, because it basically tells you, and I can go var minutes, mins, got it mins, a bit of typing, equals current date. I can't type today. Date dot get minutes. And you can see you can get the month and all kinds of other things as well. And then I can go seconds. So I go var equals current date. Get the current date dot seconds. This is going to be way out of date by the time I finish typing it, but that's fine. Get seconds. There you go. No, that's the set. Aha, you see you can set the time as well. Little spoiler alert too, but don't do that because you'll upset your system clock. It's taken me about a minute to type in get seconds. So I've got these three variables, hours, minutes, and seconds, and I fetched all the values from the time. And now I can make myself a time string, which is going to be the hours plus colon plus the mins plus colon plus the seconds. And if I now take a look at time string, it's got the time that I asked for the time. And away you go. So once you've done that, you can actually use that in your time program to display it. So, I mean, it just turns out I happen to know, because I know everything, I happen to know the paragraph in my clock is called time para. So I can type this in really quick. Watch this. Boom! See, real fast typing. I now have a variable called output element, which is referring to the paragraph in my clock. You can just see the 0 peeking out there. Isn't that cute? And now I can effectively set the content of that. So I can now go output element dot text content. We've done this before. Equals time string. You're going to love this. Boom. And if you look, if I get rid of the view here, boom, it has my time in it. So I've shown you that you can use a date object to fetch the time, and then you can pull out the individual elements of that time, and the hours, the minutes, and the seconds. And so that side of things seems quite self-evident and sensible. So yeah, in the next bit, I'll give you a sneak peek just to prove I can make things work. I've got some code that actually just does this. And if you go into the next example, if we go back to my examples and go for ticking clock and view that, this is the code actually doing it. Boop. And you can see it's taken me about 5 minutes to explain that. And so now I have my ticking clock. You'll find out how to make it tick in the next section. Now, isn't that exciting? So go back there and listen to that part of the podcast and do it now.